Pro Group Racing presents Show Us Your Tips. September 8th preview looking at Gosford and Sandown Hillside off the back of the Fee and Stakes Day. How'd the weekend treat you, Beaver?
Yeah, it wasn't a bad weekend. Got a bit frustrated towards the end of the day there, mate. A couple of my tips missed, and our tips missed by an eyelash. Elephants was one that hurt me. Thought it was home. Just got nutted on the line. I think another bob and it probably wins. King of Sparta was probably a fairly ordinary ride, to be honest. Drawn wide, but was four wide the whole way, and still looked the winner close to home. But the other thing just got sit on the back, and a tissue in the last was an absolute shocker. 20 lengths last. I just don't know how they think they can win from there. The only one that could have done that was Winks, and Tissue's a good horse, but it's no Winks.
That is factually correct. It is not Winks.
Some other great wins. De Graves was very good. Great ride there. The Hong Kong horse, Inferno, was impressive.
Yeah.
Portland Sky was very disappointing.
Zaki looked the goods in Sydney, and
mate, we said that. I just can't believe the price, Zaki. Still shaking my head over that. That was just I just didn't get it, and we got better than what we even thought. It got out to whatever $2.30.
Yeah,
money for jam.
You could have,
and Nature Strip was fantastic.
Yeah, you could have probably comfortably just had the all up and sat back for the afternoon, to be honest. But as usual, I overthought it. I think my day probably peaked with Jamea, which is a nice win, and I mentioned it last week. But yeah, the back end of the Valley was tricky to handle, but. We live to fight another day. We've learned that there's some good horses back, and any to follow, really.
Oh, look, you got to follow Nature Strip and Zaki, but you follow them anyway. I thought Heart of Passance was very good, even though it got beat. Was caught wide, and was very brave. So I really liked that. I thought September Run was good. Really liked its. It hit the line nicely.
2 weeks somewhere at Flemington. They'll be looking up straight at Flemington, and he probably can jump back on then.
Yeah, so I was quite impressed with that. I was glad to see it run on. It looked to be struggling, and then it shot home really well. Inferno was good. So I really like those. I'm critical of a tissue, but I thought it was still a really good run. King of Sparta, I won't be hopping off. I think if it got a little bit of cover, it would have won that race. Still some horses to follow out of the meeting, that's for sure.
Yeah, Irish Flame for me as well. Sat wide and was pretty good at a price and needs a bit further, but I think it's an underrated horse and maybe can pick up a mid-range group race throughout the carnival. So that was it for me. Apart from the obvious, Jamea was very impressive, as I said, and probably the only horse you're going to take out of that race. Swift Witness was
100%.
But if it's not it in the next one, where do we go to next? To Surround or something? Probably Surround. Fresh blood now. I think we can pen all as I said, pen all those two-year-olds and be looking for fresh 3-year-olds. But anyway, let's get to tomorrow. We're at Gosford, which is not a track I'm overly keen to bet on most of the time, but we are there. It is a good track, and there's 6 races on. So we'll see how it starts, where we kick off with the maiden over the 1,200 meters in race number 1. And do you want to lead us away here?
Yeah, I think probably the best bet of the day comes up in the first here in Gosford, Daggy, and that's number 1, Cooled. Looks to be too good for these, given a couple of starts in its first preparation in some pretty good company. Trials well for this winning a Rosehill Barrier trial. It's only starts to date. I think it finished second at Canterbury behind Bacchanalia, which is a decent horse, and then went to Flemington. Wasn't disgraced there behind Lightsaber and Safe when it was well found in the market. So I think they think this has got a little bit of ability. So this should be an easy kill.
Since I've been sitting here, or since we're chatting off there, it's firmed in about, I think it's rolled in every 5 minutes here, but I think it's too short.
$1.90 to $1.75.
Yeah, I do think it's too short now, but obviously on top. Hollywood North was the one that was overseas. I think both trials were pretty good. It's $26. I couldn't believe the price. And I'll be having something on that just at the spec and 26 and 5 a place. Beyond that, there's not a lot I want to talk about. Fangirl, I think I had an opinion of it last time. Trials would, I think it's missed a start and been sort of faffing around. So there's not a lot else here. Cooled ended up, I think, down in the group races behind Lightsaber last prep. Trials been fine. So obviously the class here from as I said, Hollywood North, who I'm happy to have something on at about $5 a place. We've probably spent too long talking about that. Let's get to the final 72, where we spend most of the rest of the day at benchmark 72 land. And look, I was sort of looking towards Solar Apex here. The trial's been okay. It's coming back from some group stuff in Adelaide and some reasonable races chasing So Wicked and some other seasoned horses last prep. And does need a win, though. It has been a while out, but these 3-year-olds, new season 4-year-olds are coming back and winning a lot of the time. J Max on, and I don't think this is a strong race. I think Maurice, my dad, showed itself up last start, and the rest of them are all numbers, essentially. Did you think anything different?
I didn't, mate. So I come up with Solar Apex myself as well. Wallace got the top 2 contenders here. Shipley was all right first up, but I went for Solar Apex. I just think this is meeting easier opposition than what it has in the past. First up, 1600, hardest to beat.
We go out to the 1900 for another benchmark 72 here, where I was looking towards. I don't overly like this race, but now fit. I think Cusco Lad gets control here. It was outside lead at Kenzo, gets away from there on the tight turning track and might get a lead here and be very hard to run down. That was the best angle I could come up with here. I wasn't that keen on the race, as I said. Did you have any firmer thoughts?
No, pretty open affair here. I went for Un-American. Like the way it won last start, showed a decent turn of foot, and I think you can sit close to the pace here, get the track into the race, and sprint well at the end. So I've gone Un-American, hardest to beat.
Cool. Yeah, I haven't forgiven it since it went like a slug up at Eagle Farm that day when I thought it would win a few back, but maybe it's bounced back a little bit since then. 1200 meter 72 is race number 4. What are you doing here?
Yeah, look, this was another tricky affair. 4 horses well in the market here. I've gone for the 4 head on up from the Freedman stable. It was it's been quite good this preparation in. 3 starts, 2 seconds and a win. 1 at Gosford. So coming back here in a tight finish. Look, I can't see no reason that White can't again probably take up the lead here. If not, get a good track into the race. But again, probably in the lead, hard to beat.
Again, I'm not that keen on the race. Masquerader was smashed last time at Kenzo. It was really heavily backed off its win first up. Played up before the race, missed the start, was out of play pretty much from then. From this gate, we'll see what the track's doing, but maybe can swoop like get a couple back and run on okay. The other horse that's over the odds I thought was Lady Loves to Gamble, who's honest. I know it's probably looking for further, but it's attached to 15 Aria. It trialled alongside 15 Aria just as good, and it's 4 times the price as 15 Aria. So I was a bit surprised by that. Whether it really fits this race, I'm not sure, but if it's going to be 20s, I think it's the one that's right over the odds in this race. But again, I think it's a bit tricky beyond that. Hoping, though, race 5 is less tricky over the 1100 metres, another benchmark 72. We both mentioned Park Avenue this time last week. Are you sticking solid?
Yeah, certainly sticking solid here. No reason not to. I don't think this is any more difficult affair. So lightly raced.
To be honest.
Probably easier. Yeah, gets a 1.5 kilo claim. Jean ran over me. It's going well. Gate 4. Yeah, I think Park Avenue is a really nice bet around the $4 mark at the moment.
Agree. I think it's a great price. I think it's a talented horse. I like that the stuff that came through last prep, and I liked its trials, and I'm pretty keen to take. The current price is good enough for me. So probably be my main bet on the day tomorrow. So Park Avenue on top and best of the day for me. And we wrap up with another 72 again over the 1200 with some lightly race stuff where I again, not overly confident, but I do have the resumer again, Waihaha Falls on top. It was pretty tough winning on debut at Kenzo, and then sort of went to Hawkesbury, and nothing went right in the Hawkesbury Guineas. Apparently didn't handle the track. It sort of slugged around. It's also Hawkesbury where we see a lot of horses go and not perform. Trials have been just okay. They're not blow-away trials, but I don't think this is a necessarily strong race. So sort of happy to follow the market a little bit there, and don't have much more to add. Obviously, not another Reeves flying, and we'll get control, and we'll be the one they'll have to get past. What are you doing here?
Yeah, I've gone for Lock My Mind, resuming from the Lee stable. Thought it had good enough form for a race like this. Drawn 9 was a little bit of a worry of where it might sit. Probably have to use some pace. Hopefully it can get in. I'm hoping it can somehow find a sort of one out, one back position here. Only had the one start first up and won. And its form last preparation was good, even though, didn't have a lot of luck in the start when I only finished just over a couple of lengths behind Crystal Breeze at Randwick and was held up for a run. 2 pretty soft trials where it wasn't really tested. Last one was second, albeit 5 lengths behind Great News, but Great News would win this by 5 lengths. So, I think it's got a really good show in the last.
Excellent. What is your best shows then for tomorrow? Best and value at Gosford.
Yeah, my best comes up in the first, which was number 1, Cooled. Had it marked out there. And my value is race 3, number 5, Un-American.
I'm going to make my best Park Avenue in race 5, and my value I will make.
That's what you would.
And I'll make it to run the Cornella or in the place with you there. The thing the first northbound. Was it Northbound Avenue? Is that right? The Waller Horse. Hollywood North, that's the one. In race number 1. Don't forget to check out progretracing.com.au for their free tips and extensive guides. Plenty going on there each and every day, as well as jump onto our socials, show us your tips on Facebook and Twitter, and give us a subscription and whatnot on your various podcast networks, as well as on the YouTube channel at Progret Racing YouTube channel. We head down south to the hillside where the rail is in the 12-meter mark. I'm suggesting it's probably on pace is the way to be tomorrow. Dry track by the time we get there, so let's just watch and see. I think the last time I was in that position, it was on pace. That would have been back in the start of June. We kick off with a maiden over the mile. We'll all kick off with the stablemate of Elephant Rhinoceros, who was outside lead first up. It was had to chase from a long way out and just missed on the line. I think it's a better setup here, can probably just about control this race from the gate. And I think it's a decent enough bet around the $4.60. What are you doing here?
I'm doing the same. I thought Rhinoceros was pretty good last start. This doesn't look a tough affair at all. I think it could get a bit of control here and be able to dictate some terms and hard to beat.
Second of the day is over the mile again. This time it's a benchmark 72. The 2 that clashed a couple of weeks back meet each other again.
The 3 that clashed.
Oh, the 3 that clashed. There's 2. Yeah, sorry. Which one of them is going to win today or tomorrow?
Good question, mate. This doesn't look to be a lot between all 3 of these. I've got a slight leaning towards Barbrada. But yeah, it's really a match race in 3. I think Barbrada can turn the tide on Adele in what looks to be 3-horse race.
I went towards just thinking the track might be on pace. I stuck with Adele, but the more I thought about it, probably a bet. But what scared me is Craig Williams doesn't tend to make the same mistake twice, and I don't think he's going to allow it to get that bit of a pinch on him and get the soft lead it had last time. I think he could probably try and roll forward for being inside it and try and post him a little bit. So that's what I'm scared of. It did start very short in that race. Maybe it is just the obvious there, but Adele did win well enough. So ultimately, I think they're the two, and tough to split. But just Adele, because I think it was an impressive win, but scared of what Craig Williams might do to put Adele out of play. So the answer might just be a pineapple from me. 1,000-meter benchmark 64 is race number 3. I'm going to go here with, I don't mind a price either, number 1, Desander Mill. It had some okay performances last prep. It went up to Sydney where it ran in a decent race at Randwick before going out. Trial since coming behind Sky Command and Dragonstone. Trial since coming back was fantastic. And I think Sandown is suited. It'll whip around. It's a speedy customer, and I think it might be a little bit better than benchmark 64 grade. What have you done here?
Yeah, I thought this was a tricky little race. I thought the favourite was reasonably okay last start after winning first up, decent rain. So I thought it had a major chance. I really liked the win of number 10, No Way Ever, at Pakenham. Was found in the market and just seemed to cruise home. Gets 3 kilo claim here, so comes in with 54.5. Probably goes forward as being one of the leaders, or if not the leader, might just get some control here and hopefully give a good sight.
Excellent. At a nice enough price too. Another 1,000-meter, the highest grade of the day, benchmark 78 is race number 4. Snapper, it looks like it's been backed in the since I've done the form. What are you doing in the 1,000-meter race here?
Yeah, I'm sticking with Joshy Richards here again. Whip crack away. Resuming 3 starts, 3 wins first up. So it goes really well fresh. Has enough pace here. Tried really well at Crampton. Thought it was good, even in the heavy. So I liked that. And then form last start was in some decent races. Ran less than 2 lengths behind Pintoff at Caulfield. Was only 3 lengths off Madeir, Zorro's Dream at Flemington over 1,100, and then has a win at and Sandown Hillside as well. So if it can reduce any of those 3 runs, then it's certainly got to be in the calculations here for sure, wouldn't you think?
Yes. I think it's a very, very honest horse, and I think it'll run very well here. Didn't know what to do with Snapper. Obviously, haven't seen a trial, but I think it was a talented horse last prep. And Twist of Fury is a 1,000-meter horse. It's up and going, and you know what you're going to get. It's going to be on pace and very tough to beat. But I had whip crack away on top as well. And I just think I think it's an underrated horse, and will run well here. We've got another 1,000-meter race over, which is a benchmark 70. Race number 5 kicks off the quaddie for the afternoon, where I struggled a little bit with this. I ended up putting, what did I do here, actually? My page resets. Look, Sugartown is back from Saturday grade, but I'm not overly confident tipping it back to 1,000 this deep into a prep. And I had 3 looks at Zooshine, but gate 1, the claim, a little bit icky, so I was a bit concerned, but I had a feeling. I kept going back to Zooshine, but no confidence here. What have you done?
Yeah, I sort of narrowed it down to 2. The Sisters was pretty good last time. I thought it was a great run, and it looks to get excuse me, looks to get the same run here. It's going to get back. That's the only concern at Sandown, but the gate 12 means it's going to get in the running line. Can track into the race as long as they can finish off, and there's no bias there for the on paces. 2 kilo claim certainly in its favour, so I think it's a super chance in this. And I also think Brazen Song resuming is another horse that's not without a chance. It goes well enough, fresh, but last preparation over slightly longer distance has some really good form in better class races than this. So I can't see why it can't finish in the figure and be something to contend with, particularly if it's ready and primed first up. probably just wants a little bit longer than 1,000 metres. So they're the two for me I'd be playing around.
Excellent. Race number 6 is benchmark 64 over the 1,300 metres, where I think there's 2 chances here, or 2 horses that are the key hopes, but Fortunate Kiss on top for me. I was really impressed with its return off the decent stuff last prep. Back on top of the ground, it is going wet to dry, which might be a concern, but back on top of the ground, we want to see the track in its favour as well, but gate 2 should be close enough, hoping leaders back. And got a very nice turn of foot, and I think will be the one to beat from obviously Lena's Legend, who returned with a nice win too. I think they're both pretty talented horses. So what are you doing here?
Yeah, I've gone exactly the same way. I really like the way that Fortunate Kiss ran first up. That was a smart win in decent enough time. Drawn to get a really good run again here, and a lot of horses here are coming off last start wins, which makes it quite tricky. But it's Fortunate Kiss for me.
Second last on the card is again over the 1,300. Again, out to benchmark 70 though, I should say. But my best of the day will come up here. A couple of concerns, gate 1, but I think it'll be close enough here. And the Garden is flying. Been flying all prep. Another impressive win last time. I know it goes to Hillside, but it should get the same setup. And I don't think this is a stronger race than what it beat last time. So happy to take about the $3 mark here. Race 7, number 3 at the Garden. Beaver.
Yeah, I've come up with the Garden as well. Looks to get control up front here. Gate 1, 3 kilo claim for the young girl. So still gets in reasonably at the weights, and this is no harder than last race, so going to be hardest to beat again.
And we're going to wrap up the day with a 78 over the 1,800 metres. How are you coming home?
Yeah, I come up with Noble Heights here. Really like this horse. Resuming here, resuming over the 1,800 is quite interesting, but last preparation ran 3rd behind Explosive Jack in the big race at Morphville.
Yep.
I think that was that the Oaks Derby?
Derby the first, yeah.
And prior to that had some good form at Morphville. Before that was at Sandown here, where it ran 2nd to Deep Strike. Went well in the market, and prior to that won a nice race here by a few lengths. So if it's ready and raring to go, obviously probably wants further than this, but this looks like a good first up tilt. Not sure so much about King's Charisma, obviously the GB horse having its first Australian run, so I've got to have a close watch on it. And there's Yukon come down from Sydney to Melbourne, and we know that form generally stacks up, and it had ran some good races in decent company up in Sydney, so I probably wouldn't want to let it get under my guard. So probably Noble Heights in front of Yukon for me.
Yeah, I flipped it. I had Yukon on top for coming down from Sydney. It's had it's run well, honestly, in all those races in Sydney. It been outside lead and had to chase a couple of times as well. So I think coming here is a nice setup and a nice race to come down for. And I like what you said about Noble Heights. Don't have to add much more there. Went through to the SA Derby and looks a bit of fresh horse on the scene. And in this case, I think the inside gate probably is no harm. Interesting watch as well. Notice that there's another UK horse, which is probably going to be 30th tomorrow, Emissary, in the same colours. So we'll see how they run. But I was happy to take on Horrifying. I think it's shown itself up a little bit by now, and thought the other one was too short too. So happy to back both the other two at the price. Let's wrap up for progretracing.com.au. Your best and value for Sandown Hillside.
Yeah, my best comes up in race 6, number 6, Fortunate Kiss. That's my best of the day. I think there's some horses that I've tipped there that have got some nice value, so I could pick most of those. But I've come up with race 5, number 12, The Sisters, as my value pick of the day.
Very good. I'll make my best the Garden, and my value for the Jason Warren stable, Darcy Andermill, in the 1,000 metre race. What do you got for us up north?
Yeah, got a few for us up north. First one comes up in, is it gone? No, sorry, mate. You've lost me here.
You're right. Cool.
Race 3, number 10, Canadian Dancer. It's my first one. Race 4, number 2, Kirkby. Chris Waller trained is my next one. Then moving to later in the card, race 7, number 6, Galaxy Bell. I think that's probably the best bet of the day up in Eagle Farm. And finishing off in the last race 8, number 3, Jack the Lad, for a bit of value.
Very good. Good stuff, Beaver. Been flying up there again. And we will see everyone Thursday night as we look forward to, I've forgotten what's on. We're back at Flemington. It's, we're back at Flemington and Randwick again, I think, for Saturday. So we'll see everyone then. And good punting, guys. Stay safe. And we'll talk to everyone very soon.